Every 2 minutes, someone in the United States is sexually assaulted each year. There are over 200,000 victims of sexual assault, according to the National Crime Survey. Hi, my name is Patrick McKenna, and today I'm going to inform you of continuum of force, so you can be aware of how to protect yourself in a dangerous situation. I'll be discussing the 5 levels of force and the variables that affect the use of force and the ways you can use these levels to protect yourself. Let's begin by discussing what continuum of force is and the 5 levels of force. Continuum of force is the concept that there is a wide range of possible actions which may be used to gain and maintain control of a dangerous situation. These possible actions are broken down into 4 levels and the behaviors associated with the attacker. The first level is resistance. For passive resistance, the subject is considered passive and refuses to obey verbal commands, either stop and don't. Active resistance. Subject continues to refuse directions and demonstrates physical resistance by pulling away, shouting, struggling, or fleeing from the area. Following that is assaultive resistance, which is bodily harm. This means the subject may be physically attacking by striking, kicking, or even biting, but does not use a weapon. And finally, you have seriously bodily harm. The subject uses a weapon such as a gun or a knife or any tool to pose a lethal threat to your body. Now that you know the 4 levels of force, let's look at how the level of each force can be determined through the variables. Situation variables must be considered when making the decisions to escalate or de-escalate the level of control in a given situation. These variables include number of subjects, the ability to protect yourself from one or multiple subjects, the size of the subject, gender may be a variable, are they male or female? Generally by nature, a female's stature is smaller than a male's body. Also, skill level, does the subject look like an MMA fighter? And finally, weapons, is the subject armed with a weapon? Also, you can also say there's drugs and alcohol. Is the subject under control, not under control of his own actions, or her own actions? Now that we know the levels of continuum of force with its variables, let's look at how to use the appropriate force to protect themselves. By knowing the levels of the force along with the behavior, you can choose the right level to protect yourself. The first level is resistance technique. It passes contact controls. You may repeat the commands to the subject and warn the subject of consequences if not cooperating. You may call the cops, or you may call someone, they may have jail time. Following that is active technique. You may use the technique with your soft hand to include grabs, holds, joint locks used to restrain the individual. Assaultive technique, which is bodily harm, using defensive tactics, hard hand techniques including punches and kicks. And finally, seriously bodily harm, which is deadly force, when you feel that your life is in jeopardy or someone else's life is in jeopardy. It can include weapons or lethal blows. Now that you are informed of the ways to protect yourself from an attacker, let's go over the aspects of continuum of force that I've discussed today. Today I informed you of the levels of force, the behaviors associated with the variables that affect each level of the force, and how someone can protect themselves from an attacker. Although the statistic stated that at the beginning that someone is sexually assaulted every 2 minutes is shocking, being aware and informed of continuum of forces can help lower the statistic. I hope that no one will be forced to use these tactics, but being aware and spreading the information will help someone be prepared if necessary. Thank you again for your time.